But anyways, you know, and that intrigued me. And I was like, okay, you have haunted people, haunted houses, you know, we have haunted items. Then I'd start buying books looking at the things on how far back haunted items actually exist. I mean, you know, you got the whole diamond, and you got these chairs and all these different items over in England, Scotland, Germany that have been around for thousands of years that have energy actually attached to them. So again, it was something that really intrigued me, and that's what took me down the road with it, trying to understand it and realizing how, you know, energy. Because I always talk energy. I don't like to always talk spirit, because the main source of everything is energy. You know, it's that energy that has intelligence to it. That's what intrigues all of us. So that's what I study, and that's what I like looking at, whether it's wood, metal, glass. You know, you have all these elements that have this energy attached to it, and it has an intelligence to it. That's the key factor with all this. Yes?
Have you ever taken an item from a client and then thinking that it's coming with you, but it actually stays?
Has there been situations where I've determined that an item was causing the source of the problem? Yes. And I would remove the item, we do the bindings, the prayers and everything on it, and would activities still continue in the home? Yes.
So what is the next
At that point, it depends on what the circumstances are. I'll think about it, and okay, you know, there are items that have been returned to people because it wasn't the issue. Because to be honest with you, I don't need to keep people's stuff, you know. I really don't need it. I got tons of crap. I don't need anybody's stuff. But anyhow, you know, with that, then I have to go back in and take another look at it. Did we miss the source? You know, was it an item? Was it the house? Was it the land? Is it the person? There's a lot of things that you really have to take in. And spirit will trick you. So you got to be very careful. They're very cunning. And, you know, they can trick you and they can fool you. So it's something on the way I go about the process of usually elimination. Is usually what I do. But have I been wrong? Yes, and I will always admit to it. If I've been wrong, I'll stand right up and admit to it. Anybody else? Yes?
How big is your museum?
The museum right at this point now is a barn on the property, and it's not in my basement because from this stupid TV show, everybody thinks it's in my basement. Anyways, it's a barn. It's 30 foot by 20 foot, and it has all kinds of stuff in there. I mean, I outgrew the barn already. You know, it's on my property. My original intent was just to keep all my junk in there. And now it's to a point, you know, especially with season 2 coming up and everything, I've already started looking at areas to probably relocate the museum. So if you guys want to come visit or see it, you'll be able to do so. Right now it's a private museum. No, but I'm working on that, and I'm going to see what comes up in the future with being able to have it publicly open. So people can come in and see all my junk. I call it junk because, you know, some of the things I'll hear and say, people are going, oh, you stole a $10,000 heirloom. What $10,000 heirloom? It's bent, it's scratched, it's broken. There's nothing here of huge, significant value. It just amazes me sometimes.
Yeah. Regarding your stupid TV series, since you said they won't let you show a lot of stuff, and I don't think it's stupid, I don't know. Since they won't let you show a lot of stuff on the air, do they still record it, and would you be able to do a behind-the-scenes type of thing?
Bonus footage. Okay, this is something that most people don't realize, is that when we do these episodes, they show 22 minutes. Right. We film 120 hours of footage. All of the shows, some are more, some are a little bit less, but trust me, you got several cameras going, plus what all us investigators, well, I won't touch the equipment. But anyways, you know, what everybody's filming and everything, we were sitting just talking about this recently, there's a minimum of 120 hours of footage. And the things that don't make it into these shows drives me nuts. Yes, right at this point in time, Sci-Fi is very interested. I've been going back and forth with a couple of the executives to do an outtake on the Sci-Fi website on some of the other things and some of the things that did transpire behind the scenes. So they're very interested and they're very receptive to this. We've been going back and forth over the past couple of weeks. Thank you for bringing that up.
TVs would be fabulous.
Well, They would, but unfortunately here again, you know, that would be all extras that, you know, they really wouldn't want to put in, so, you know. Yeah, you gotta remember, we do these TV shows, all of us, you know, we don't have the final say on what actually airs, and it makes it hard when you're sitting back looking at it, because I start screaming and swearing at the TV and going, you cut this out, you cut that out, what are you doing? People are gonna sit there and going, well, what does he do with the item? Does he do anything over the item? Is he taking the item out of the house? What is going on here? Why aren't you showing this? It's always the same question. So I thought this time there's a couple of episodes where got my fingers crossed that Sci-Fi will leave it in there. Please, please, please. Yes.
As cool as your profession is and the multitude of things that you do, when someone's sitting next to you on a plane that doesn't know you like we do, and they say, what do you do for a living? What do you tell them and how do they react?
Today, it's a lot different than it used to be. You know, a lot of times because when I am flying around or something, I'll be reading, you know, our different footnotes, the history and different things on cases, and people are more intrigued today than they ever were before. You know, and when flying around, especially this time, it wasn't from, you know, the TV show where, oh, that's John Zaffis or anything. Somebody would see me reading something paranormal, and it would trigger them, and they'll start asking questions. So, you know, a lot of times when I'm flying and stuff like that, you know, I got the whole group right around me that all kicks in and starts, what's he saying? They're leaning over the chairs, it's not paranormal ghost, and everybody's got a ghost story. Yeah, everybody's got a ghost story.
First class is leaning over?
Dude, I still have never been in first class yet. Usually they sandwich me right in the middle where I don't want to be. You know, and it's but I've never to this day flown first class yet. Boy, would I love to. It's one thing I want to do before I'm out of here. I want to fly at least once first class. Anybody over here? Yeah?
What drew your kids into do this with you?
What's that?
What drew your kids into do this with you?
What drew my kids into it was Amy, my daughter, that's the one that's on the show. My oldest daughter's not on it, but she changed her mind all of a sudden. So now we got the two girls going back and forth. I love it. Anyhow, but Amy was always interested in the history and trying to understand some of the paranormal. You know, she's always been really keen into that and everything. And here again, even though she's on the show and everything, you know, she's investigated with us several times, but she just doesn't like doing it. She does not like doing actual investigations, no. So, you know, it's that, but that's fine, you know what? She's being honest about it. She goes, Daddy, I just don't like doing it. She says, it scares the shit out of me. And, you know, and I'm like, but you can't say that. I'm a demonologist. You can't say that. I said, you're my kid. She goes, I don't care. She says, and she did a few investigations with us on a couple of the episodes that will be coming up. And there's one episode where she just turns and looks at it and she goes, I'm not doing it no more. That's it. That is it. You know, that's okay. My son always had a little bit more of an interest than my two daughters did. I mean, now he had me laughing so hard when we were downstairs filming right at the beginning of season 2 and everything, and you know, because he's quiet. Chris is he's a very quiet kid. It's hard to get him to talk. And me and the directors and everybody are standing upstairs, and they're going, you hear your son down there? He knew all the stories, all the items. He's going, da, 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 da. So I walk down there and I go, why can't you do that on camera? I don't like to. But maybe he's more interested than, you know, even I realized over the past year and a half that, you know, his knowledge base on a lot of it. But I think, again, with me, I probably look at it so much differently than people today or even my kids, because there's so much out there now. There's so many TV shows and so many different things that, you know, they already have a large knowledge base, where us, we had to go out and learn it and go to these places because it just wasn't like it is today. Anybody else?
What's your take on psychics?
What's my take on psychics? I believe very strongly in them. I've worked with psychics my entire career. Ed and Lorraine Warner, my aunt and uncle. And yeah, Ed is my blood uncle, and I worked with them for many years. Again, when it comes into psychics and mediums and things like that, You have people that are legitimate people, and they do give good information. One thing I always try to get people to understand is that you have to remember, when you deal with a psychic or a medium, they get a lot of information that comes in when they're doing a session with you. And they can throw you out all kinds of random information, and you can sit there and go, oh, I don't know if that ties in with anything, but somewhere down the road it could, or they could be picking up on something else. Are there a lot of frauds out there? Yes. Yes, there's a lot of frauds out there. I mean, it's just the bottom line. It goes with a lot of that stuff. I do believe that people do have that gift of discernment, and they can pick up on the spirit world, and they can connect with it. So, again, what's fair is fair.
Have you ever, you said the energies are, some are positive, some are negative. Have you ever brought an item into your collection and you placed it there? It had, let's say, a negative energy, and another object next to it may have had positive energy, they may have repelled or rebelled against each other.
Well, when I do bring things into the museum, we have the positive energy, yes, and the negative. But usually, all the items usually have something done to them before I actually brought them in. You know, to try and either contain it to the item, or hopefully break that energy that was attached to the item. Again, you know, most people say to me all the time they would think that would be the most haunted place in the world with a lot of that different thing, but I don't, you know, I don't even know how to explain it, because here again with psychics and mediums, I've had a lot of them come down there, they've gone by certain items and tell me the stories, and they didn't have the information, so therefore, because it was in a public story, everything I talked about, and tell me about the different energies around the different things, whether it's negative or positive. So again, I don't per se have it where there's been that huge conflict per item. But there is a story that's really weird from last year or the year before. You know, the years just flow after a while. Anyways, a couple of years back, my office is above the museum. I was in there working, I heard a bunch of noise down in the museum, didn't think too much of it. So I had gone down, and we just got done working on like 10 major cases, you know, hardcore cases when I say major. And it was like this crazy stuff that was going on. I could hear sounds, I could hear high-pitched sounds. Usually when I hear something high-pitched and it's screechy, that reminds me of the angelic. Okay, because angelic is very piercing, the sound that they will try to convey to you. And if it's something on a negative, it could be a lot more weird. Well, anyways, I'm standing there, and I'm looking around. I didn't even turn all the lights on, and I'm going, oh my God, what do we got? War breaking in between good and evil down here? So I was walking back towards, and I was like, okay, maybe I'm just too tired and everything. I felt that I actually got pushed, and the door slammed behind me when I was out in the tunnel that connects the barn to the house. So I'm standing there, and I still can hear all this sounds and everything going on. But you know, the only thing that was going through my mind at that point in time was, I says, these sons of bitches break all my stuff, man. They're going to big price. That's all I kept thinking about. They're going to break all my stuff. They're going to break everything. They're going to break everything, right? So I didn't think too much of it, you know. I couldn't sleep. I'm tossing and turning and everything. So finally, I went back down about 4 o'clock in the morning. I went and looked, turned the lights on, and nothing was broken or anything. But I mean, it's just weird things that happen like that. You know, I can't explain it or disprove it or prove it, but weird things happen like that in the paranormal field. So, yeah, to answer your question, I guess, yes. Is there a little bit of a battle probably that goes on between the positive and the negative down in the museum? Yes. Anybody else? Yeah?
How did you go from demonology to what you do now?
How did I go from demonology to what I do now? I'm still very much in the forefront with the demonology. I always will be. I work with a lot of different spiritual people and clergy to this day. Haunted items just is one of the aspects of what I do. I do demonology, I collect haunted items, I do regular paranormal investigating. There's a lot that I do. This is just one segment of my actual life. So you got to remember, when dealing with the demonology end of this, we got to be extremely guarded and careful what we do and how we do it. Especially because I work with so many spiritual people behind the scenes. They don't want to be exposed. They don't want to be in the forefront. So when that opportunity came up, you know, to actually talk about the haunted items, you know, I said, you know what? That gets me off the hook with talking about demonology and possession and all the other stuff that we really can't talk about in a TV, you know, show. And it doesn't upset all these spiritual people that I work with. Kind of worked out in my favor a little bit. Yes?
Can you just talk a bit more about what demonology entails?
What demonology is actually the studying of all the things on a negative perspective. And a lot of people feel that it just ties in with devils and demons, but it goes way beyond that. We have spirit that we call jinn, which predates everything. We have deities, devils, demons. We have a lot of different things that are out there that, people can end up having major issues in their life with. Possession is a true thing. It's extremely rare. It's very rare. We know mental illness and a lot of other things are, diagnosed, and people have a better understanding of all that today. But, when a person is legitimately having a problem in the demonology circle, that's what I've been tied in with for the majority of my life, whether they're Christian, they're Buddhist, Judaism, pagan, Wiccan, it doesn't matter. The understanding of it is that they can have that energy that can attach to them and can actually possess them. And that's where I would always get involved with it and bring in the proper people to be able to help people. So that's what that's all about, with the demonology end of it. And it's really another whole world that, doesn't really tie in with what we're all sitting here doing, talking about the haunted items and ghost hunting. We put this more on a lighter perspective so that, people can understand it. The demonology world is so separate from, it's like a dual world, if I don't know how else to explain it to you. That's the wonderful world of demonology. I've done movies and done shows and documentaries on it, but actually ever delve into doing a TV series on it, I've turned down several offers. It's too risky, and clergy people are not interested in actually going to the forefront with it. Yeah.
How prevalent is it?
What, demonology or?
Just people having an issue with that.
How prevalent is it as far as the demonic end? You really have to take a step back, because today so much is exposed. And like I said, I work worldwide with paranormal groups and clergy all over the place. So I hear about a lot more than your average person would. I would say it's more in the forefront with people actually having something on a negative level than before. But then again, a lot of people are practicing more different types of things. People are experimenting more today than they ever did in the past. So a lot more doors are opened up. Now, is it just from religious people that have this? No. I deal with a lot of people that don't believe in God, they don't believe in devils or demons, and they end up falling victim to some of these things on a negative level. Then they walk away with an understanding that they're going, man, we didn't believe in any of this stuff, but we just went through it. You had somebody do prayers or a special ritual over us and it worked. I got to view things different. So it's a whole, like I said, the demonology world is just it's nuts. It's nuts. Well, it's crazy. Anybody else? Yeah.
When you're talking about salt, we probably all heard the salt thing, like put it around your house or whatever to protect your stuff. But when you're talking about possessions, but you're talking too about rituals, what do you do if you don't know these rituals? Does salt help you even without a ritual?
Salt is one of our most powerful elements that there is out there, especially sea salt. It goes back thousands and thousands of years. The iron content helps to pull down the energy and the negativity. So here again, if you're ever in a circumstances where something is happening, to this day, I walk around with more salt than I don't know what. I always have the production team always going out and buying me a case of sea salt for wherever we are. I sprinkle it inside, I sprinkle it outside, I sprinkle it on the items, because it does help to contain energy. If you don't know, something to do, and you feel something's happening on a negative level, please always go online and see if there's someone in your local area that can help you with that, to make sure that's actually what's happening, that you have something on a negative level happening. It's been most important to actually dig into it to find out that there's something happening, as far as quote unquote saying you're dealing with something, a devil, demon, or something like that. Yes?
Is there any particular item, either well-known or not that well-known, that you really want to get a chance to work with?
I want the whole diamond, dude. Then you can accuse me of stealing grandma's jewelry. No.
You're in the Russell world.
Are there? There's not too many different things that I really haven't had the opportunity, you know, to work with ritual items, dolls, furniture, clothing, jewelry. I don't know that I can't think of anything right offhand that would be, you know, that I haven't really touched or really, you know, really worked with as of yet. Now that you said that, Murphy's Law is going to kick in. Something's going to pop up that I haven't touched or worked with. Anybody else? Yes?
Objects that move, is there usually a spatial constraint to how they move, or is anything possible?
When an item, you mean physically moves? When an item physically moves? What you have to remember is a lot of people, we interpret that as far as poltergeist activity. And that's how we, you know, look at it. But what it is the actual buildup of energy that can pull together. And 9 out of 10 times there's always a catalyst. What's the catalyst? You or I. That for an item to move, usually it's in the vicinity of an individual. And the energy that's built up with the item, plus the energy from us, because we're like batteries. Spirit needs that energy to manifest and do things that can actually get an item to move. And here again, it's not anything demonic, it's not anything evil that's actually occurring. It's the manifesting of energy. Certain people can manipulate that energy, get something to break, or get something to move. You know, here again, too, you know, 38 years involved with this. You know, 30 years ago, if something moved or something broke or anything like that, it's a double demon. That's the way I was taught. But I've learned to understand a lot of these things as I've moved forward in the paranormal field. But understanding this whole whacked out world that we're all interested in. Anybody else? Any other questions? Yes?
You know, I know I hear about, like, you know, if you get a crystal quartz or, you know, different type of stones and stuff that, you know, are supposed to be positive energy, things like that. What's your take on, you know, that kind of stuff?
Boy, I wish if I was sitting here right now. Because there's a reason we did an episode with, because crystal dates back thousands and thousands of years, and it's used as a positive. There's nothing negative about it. Crystal quartz actually can absorb energy, and it can pull out negative energy in different places. It's a very positive force, and I believe very highly, very strongly in that. I believe in placing crystals in different locations to help neutralize energy. So again, I'm a very firm, strong believer in that. And we had worked on one that I had placed crystals and they wouldn't let me leave it in. But anyhow, but no, I believe very strongly it's a positive force. People wear crystal, it absorbs that negativity around an individual. Now you can remember a lot of these old things and these old methods, they predate all our organized religions. And these were things that were used by, you know, Tibetans and, you know, the Mayans and everybody else for crystals and things like that. So, you know, you can't throw all the old things out just because you want something new to come in to replace it and start screaming. If you don't follow traditional methods, the devil's going to come up and take you over. Bull crap.
What was the issue with the crystals? There's no real religious attachment.
Yes, there is.
There is?
I know I hate to be so... what you have to remember is... Okay, yeah, this show you can relate to. When you do different TV shows, they have a lot of sponsors that buy to keep us on. You have religious people, you have business people. You don't want to get the religious people mad because John's bringing crystals in. Oh my God, the Christians are going to get mad. This one's going to get mad. That one gets mad. I just stood here one day in a meeting and went, you can't win. No matter what you do, you can't win. You know.
So you're okay with haunted items, but not crystals?
Yes. They're very comfortable. If you watch a lot of the shows out there, you only go so far talking about ritual or talking about religion or talk about any of the other things. We have to keep it very light, you know, so that we don't offend people. I'm not saying I agree with it. Trust me. Actually, no, the execs don't like hearing my mouth anymore.
You talked about Ouija boards. Maybe you can just give us a sense of what's happening in that process and what's the danger to the Ouija board?
Okay. Ouija boards, tarot cards, pendulum, any form of spirit communication, those are just tools. It's not the Ouija board, it's not the tarot cards. Okay? It's us as the individuals. We're the catalyst. You know, if a person's sitting doing a Ouija session and they're playing it, you know, and something comes through, it's done by that person playing it. You're granting permission for spirit to channel basically through you. The board is nothing but a tool. Again, some of the energy can attach to that if there's, you know, a communication established with it. So again, now, everybody that has played Ouija, have they all had bad experiences? No, I know a lot of people told me they've never had bad experiences. I deal with people that have, because they've actually opened up that door and let some of that negative energy and negative influence come through, and it's caused major issues. So here again, is it the board, is it the tarot card, the pendulum, the dowsing rods, the 1,000,001 things? No, it's not those items, they're just tools. Yeah?
I was in Key West, and I had seen the story before, but the actual doll who's in his body
Robert.
is there.
That's Robert.
Yes.
I'll tell you a funny story.
Now, how can he, they get him in a glass case.
Yes.
And there's letters all over the place, people apologizing for taking his picture, and because they took his picture without his permission, bad things supposedly happened to them.
Again, when looking, she's talking about Robert, this doll. Okay, this story is phenomenal. Anyways, it was made for this young man. He came from a wealthy family. Allegedly, it's made of skin. You know, his nanny had created it for him. And it's almost like this voodoo doll. Anyways, this guy kept this doll with him his entire life. He got married. The doll had its own bedroom. Robert, this whole 9 yards. You know, he died. The wife was scared to death of Robert the doll. A lot of people were. One of the theories that's abiding with the doll, Robert the doll, is that there's energy, or there's probably things within inside Robert. None of us are probably ever going to know or anything. But a lot of times when these things are done and they're handled, because I've heard about this 1,000,001 times now. I took pictures of them. I didn't have any problems. So I don't know by taking pictures, or if it's just sensitive people that are taking pictures and the energy might be combining with the individual with some of the energy with Robert the doll. I don't know. It could.
It's mind over matter.
It can very well be mind over matter. You know, a lot of times the way I refer to this, and it's just something that I look at, is the law of attraction, the law of recognition can actually cause paranormal activity to happen. And that's the way I've always abided by that. Now, yeah, I'll tell you a funny story about Robert the doll. I was doing a big convention down south and everything. It was one of the first times Robert the doll came out. And they were setting it up and everything, and they didn't have the big glass case on it and everything. They had to release everything around this doll, right? Well, I knew about the doll and everything like that. I walk in and, you know, I'm looking around and everything like that, and I says, I'm taking that effing doll home with me. Next thing I know, I got a freaking cop coming after me. Two people that were setting up, they're going, this crazy old man's trying to steal Robert the doll. It's comical and funny now, but at the time it wasn't. I'm not stealing it, I was joking around. Anyhow, it's funny to think about those things. Anybody else got any questions?
I have a dumb one.
There's never a dumb question. Never.
Wait till you hear it. The TV show Supernatural.
Yes.
Do you watch it? What is your take on it? How much of that stuff is real? Or has
All right, she's, how many of you have watched Supernatural? Yeah! I've been watching. I was supposed to be on it. I was supposed to go on a couple of episodes. It didn't. The timing, nothing would line up. All this crazy. Listen. When the first couple of seasons, they were doing up the scripts and everything like that, right? And a couple of other people I know were going back and forth and everything like that. And I'm watching this and I'm going, you know what? Bobby kind of reminds me of me. And I'm watching and I'm thinking about it, and John Winchester too. But both of them were like, this character's too close here, right? And I'm going back and forth or anything. Well, when we were talking, going back and forth, come to find out two of the script writers had read my book, they read a lot of stuff about me, and they were watching me and studying me. So then I really got mad. I go, well, why didn't you have me on this show?
Why did they call Bobby?
But why did they kill Bobby?
But no, I mean, the stuff that they do, the demons and things that they
Okay, here again too, remember with the series Supernatural, There is so many things in there that line up with the demonology field, it's not even funny. There's a
So
lot.
what they do when they're hunting and stuff, that
Okay, that's what I was going to say. Some of it is, but other things are exaggerated for TV.
Right.
Okay, but there's a lot that is based right there. Now, I had a chance to meet Bobby in Cassiel.
Oh.
We were down doing, what the hell's that big thing in Georgia? No, I'm not going to count the other one. Oh gosh, I don't know. Hey, no, what's the big convention, Mark, down in Georgia? DragonCon. Anyways, Bobby and Cassiel were in the booth behind me and everything like that, right? And I was going nuts and everything, and they finally came over, and I finally got to at least meet him. Then I was looking at Bobby, you know, as you could tell, my humor's whack. I looked at him, and I'm pointing, and I go, yeah, you're a lot like me and everything. He looked me up and down, he goes, well, who are you? Joking, you know. So then we got talking and everything. The following day, Bobby came back in, you know, the person, and he came over and he started talking to me. He says, yeah, I looked you up and everything. He said, I was talking to one of the older script writers from the show and everything. Going, yeah, John Zaffis is a real demonologist and a real demon hunter. So he came back over and he was talking to me for a little bit. That made me feel bad.
Are you going to be on the show?
Huh?
Are you going to get on the show?
No. They're down to their last season on that.
They're going to get it renewed. It's like this. Don't jinx it.
Remember, after things go 7, 8 seasons, it's hard to keep a storyline going with different things. It's very difficult. Anybody else got a question? Yeah?
You mentioned the word prayer earlier. What happens when the energy isn't the same religious denomination as the prayer?
It really doesn't matter. It's the intent behind it. When you deal with anything on a negative level, no matter what your spiritual belief is, pagan, Wiccan, Buddhism, it doesn't matter. Always, it's your intent. That energy of your intent on a positive level is what helps to break negative energy. So it doesn't matter. I have a huge paranormal group, and we got all people from all denominations. Oh man, you should hear them when they're getting ready to go do something. You got this one doing bells, this one's praying, this one's doing that. But it's a positive level. And I always tell people, keep that positive force, no matter what your belief system is or anything that you practice is positive will always outweigh negative. And you're in charge of you. Always remember that. You go into any type of an environment, I don't care wherever it is, and you're going back and forth and you get scared or you get nervous or anything, stand your ground. Always stand your ground. Fight back. Just because we can't see it, we can't touch it, doesn't mean we can't fight back. That's one of the key things I got taught years ago, and it works. It works. Anybody else?